Hello, World Wide Web. Hello, YouTube fans. Hello, Nurse. This is Locke back at you again with another one of my advisement videos. This one, though, is a little bit I'm a little bit more passionate about because this one hits a little bit more close to home because it has to do with a subject that is very, very interesting to me, or that I find very interesting anyway. It has to do with the tarot and the tarot cards. I am going to start a series on the tarot and the meanings of the tarot and the meaning behind the tarot and how best to do a reading with the tarot um, as part of a promotion for a book that I'm going to be writing and that it will be coming out. It has on a subject that is touching on something else that is very close, near and dear to my heart, and that is numerology. I have studied both the tarot and the numbers and numerology for well over 2 decades now, and the knowledge that I have amassed, I have been wanting to put in book form for quite some time and never really had the time to do it, and I am going to be doing that. So my book on numerologies. I'm still working with the title. It should be called By the Numbers or something like that. But I'm going to be doing a expose on the tarot, as it were, in order to familiarize you, the viewer, with me, the author, and my knowledge on the tarot. And so therefore you can also have a good fundamental idea that I would have and know whereof I speak when it comes to numerology and working with the numbers. I'll also do probably one or two videos on numerology also, but the tarot is near and dear to my heart and one of my favorite subjects to talk about, and I get really excited whenever I talk about it, so that's the subject that I decided to cover first, and then maybe later on do a book on the tarot. But speaking of the tarot, a lot of people have questions about the tarot if they're not familiar with the tarot. Anyone who is familiar with the tarot realize that a lot of questions about their own selves and their own lives have been answered by using the tarot. You have people out there who have used the tarot for not so positive purposes, but I like to put it to you as this. You can find lawyers out there who will literally rip you off, and they're shysters, and they put the terminology of the word shark on lawyers because of these lawyers and because of their illicit practices. But you also have very good lawyers out there who really are fighting for the common good and are really trying to help people. You can get a carpenter and contract a carpenter to build your house and get a really, really good carpenter and does a really, really good job. And then you have those out there who really could care less whether or not they do a good job or not. They just want to take your money. You have your good and bad in many professions. You can go get a really, really good haircut. You can really go get a really, really bad haircut from someone who says that they really know all about haircuts. What can I tell you? The only thing that I can tell you is that you have to judge the individual, the person who is presenting the message, and whether or not the message makes sense to you. If the message makes sense to you and the message is logical to you, then the person is talking to you from a good place. If the message that is given to you leaves you with even more questions or only more questions than you had before, and then the next time you talk to a person you're left with even more questions than you had before, well then, that's what you're getting. But I myself love the tarot. I've studied the tarot. I have many people who can attest to the fact that I do excellent readings, and I've done excellent readings. And so therefore, my study of the tarot is not just one as a means and a way of making a living, but it's also been something that's been kind of a lifelong quest of mine and a study of mine. So without further ado, I'm going to go into a few minutes about the tarot, and then I'll do some more follow-ups on the tarot. But I wanted to give this preamble to give you an idea of where I'm coming from and what you can expect from me. The tarot, many people are very familiar with the Egyptian Book of the Dead. The tarot, going back into the history of the tarot, Some people date it back as far as Egypt. Some people don't go that far back. Some people say it only goes back insofar as Europe in the 12th century. There's many questions in regards to the origins of where the tarot came from. But the one thing that is definite about the tarot is that the tarot is the book of life. The one central theme behind the tarot, if I was to give one central theme behind the tarot and what the tarot itself was to talk to you about or trying to tell you, it is this. The tarot says that no matter who you are, no matter where you are, no matter what time you live on this planet, you will always have certain things in common with everyone else who has lived on this planet, no matter what time, when, or where. This is because we are all working with one energy. That one energy goes through all of us, is funded through all of us. And so therefore it expresses itself through all of us. And so therefore this life energy, because you partake in this life energy, you will always have certain major concerns in your life, no matter what decade or century you decide that you wish to live in, or what decade or century that you are living in. And so the tarot basically covers what concerns you may have no matter when. Now, please understand this. The tarot has its own language. This is its own language, just as English is its own language, just as French is indeed its own language, and just as Spanish is its own language. Well, the tarot is its own language also. It's a pictographic language, much like Chinese, in regards to the written Chinese, is a pictographic language. And so therefore, what you do when you go to get a tarot reading is you're going to an interpreter who is going to lay down the cards and give you an interpretation of the cards that they've seen. There is an old saying that goes way back that says the cards never lie. This is very, very true. The cards don't ever lie. Everything that's put down there is meant to be interpreted a certain way. Now, can the interpreter misinterpret what they are seeing or what they're looking at? Most certainly they can. You have to think of it as this. You speak English. That's the language that you speak very well. The interpreter also speaks English very well, so that he's going to be talking to you in English. But the language that he's trying to interpret is a totally different language, a language that he has been studying, hopefully for years, or she has been studying, hopefully for years, and they want to express to you. And unfortunately, sometimes there can be some misinterpretation that goes in between there. And the cards are not going to get up and say, oh, no, that's a wrong interpretation or anything like that. The interpreter has to go through their interpretation, and they're using their psychic abilities as well as their abilities to interpret what the cards are saying in order to give you a reading. Now, those of you who have had tarot readings, or those of you who even haven't had tarot readings, are all familiar with certain cards in the tarot. Everyone's familiar with the Death card. Some people have probably heard of the Tower. Many people have heard of the Lovers. And just a few may have even heard of that card, the Devil. So this makes people very weary of the tarot. They're afraid of the tarot and things like that. Some may have even heard of the card, the Fool. But very few people have heard of some of the other really good cards in the deck, like the Sun, or even the Universe. The tarot also has cards such as the Magician and the Emperor. They have other luminous cards also. Along with the Sun, you have the Moon, and you also have the Stars, and even the Chariot. What do these cards mean, and what are the meanings behind the cards, and what do the cards stand for when together, and what is some of the history behind the cards? Well, I'll be talking to you about this later on, but first I just wanted to give you an introduction to the tarot and my introduction, that little preamble. So, that's all we have for right now. Lock out.